Let's see. First game. All right, we got the black pieces. Let's wait and see the first move. What should we do in response? E4. What are you guys feeling today? All right, all right. I think I saw a lot of Caro-Cans in there. We have done a Sicilian before. It doesn't mean we won't do it again, but for the moment, I'll mix it up. Caro-Can, and I tell you, people love this opening. It's because against e4, e5, people play bishop c4, right? And, you know, against that, I get it. It makes sense, but it doesn't work the other way around. You can't just do it against every single opening. Here, for example, I'm definitely going to play d5. It's going to encourage the pawn to take. And now we have a situation where I have a pawn in the center, and I'm gaining time attacking my opponent's bishop. Move like that, I don't think I'm losing any time here. White's bishop has moved twice. I'm going to offer the bishop to trade for what is probably one of my worst pieces. Black wants to go e6 to get this bishop out, and well, that bishop wouldn't look that good with the pawn on e6. So white has now moved the bishop 1, 2, 3 times. 3. That's too much. I'm going to take the center. Both my knights can come out next to support the center pawns. If knight f3, e4 is going to win a piece. And why did I know that was going to happen? Bishops should not be in front of pawns like that. Your center pawns need to move in chess. You can't block it in. That bishop is trapped in because that bishop's blocking that pawn. And of course, knight f3 does walk into this. Even queen e2 to momentarily save it. We just block the e-file, and we will win a piece here. But all this was actually born out of the opening. Bishop c4, then bishop b5, then bishop d3, now bishop e2. I'm going to take the knight, and now it's probably bishop takes. You see how many times white has moved the bishop? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 bishop moves. We've only played 8 moves. This is a good reminder. Improve the small things in your chess. Don't move a piece 5 times in the opening. And certainly never block your center pawns. That bishop on d3 was not a good piece. All right, let's defend our pawn. We're going to defend our center pawn. Again, I don't think that's the right move here. It's not a bad move, but I just think there are way more things to do than move the queen. You want to prioritize the rest of your pieces. What would I recommend instead of that move? Probably castling or moving a center pawn. And I mean, it's gotten to the point where my opponent has played this and then moved it straight back to d1. You don't want to move your queen that early. I'm in a castle. Maybe this will remind my opponent to castle. I hope it does. That would be a very good move. You got to get your pieces out. You got to get some pawns in the center. And you got to get your king castled. All right, I'm going to go here. It's aimed directly at your king. Never let pieces do that. This move is needed. Maybe my opponent doesn't know about castling, which is possible. Well, I tell you, bishop b4 is a double check. It's not quite a mate, but it is a double check, which I am going to be doing. Check. Now, he must move his king. The only safe king move is king here. If the rook was on f1 already, notice how this would actually be a checkmate. There's no way that you can block both of these checks, because the square they intersect on is the square your king is on. So there's no square like here where you can block. Now, although rook e1 looks like a tremendous move, and it is, the move bishop b5 is going to be, I believe, just a little bit more preferable. Bishop b5, check to the king. This move doesn't actually slow us down at all. We're going to take and deliver another check. And, you know, if the bishop blocks, he's going to be losing something there. And if the king goes over, which is what has happened, now when I go rook e1, takes, he doesn't get to take my bishop. So I feel like I've saved some material by doing this. And look, I'm not going easy on people. I'm not, you know, making worse moves than I would normally. I'm not messing around with people. I'm just trying to play the game as cleanly as possible. Because you're only really going to get to see how basic mistakes or beginner mistakes get exposed if, you know, if I actually take advantage of them. Of course, I could let my opponent kind of get back in the game, but I think it's far less instructive. While this might seem like total domination, it's self-inflicted. My opponent never castled. Huge mistake at low elo. Also moved the queen out too early. Also moved the bishop 5 times in the opening. I mean, none of this is acceptable. You have to literally do the opposite of all of those things. And quite simply, you won't be 300 if you do that. Like, those are easy fixes. Knight d2. Okay, I got a bishop on e1. I have to admit it looks a little bit weird. But he can't develop, like his rooks can't attack my bishop just yet. So I'm actually thinking, you know, maybe what's the rush? I'm going to keep this bishop for the moment. My next move is very likely knight c6 to continue development and also attack that pawn. g4. So yeah, it does look like the king is going to get out, but we're not going to really react too crazy to that move. It is pretty good though, getting the king up. It's the right idea. Is this a Hikaru cosplay stream? Now I know why you might be saying that, Mr. Swift Tickle, but no, it is not. Ha ha. Obviously, it's not a cosplay stream. As you can see, I'm sitting down. Nice try. All right. A4, we're going to take on D4 here. That was our purpose of our last move. We're hitting that D pawn. Okay. Very close to some checkmates here. Knight e2, king f1. Yes, I can move this knight somewhere and deliver a discover check, but then my bishop will be hanging. So I'm a little more interested in knight takes on g4. Now I'm threatening checkmate in 1, and in fact, even h3 to kick my knight still gets mated. So this looks like a really good move. Knight f3 gets mated. h3 gets mated. f3, guess what? It gets mated. GG. Let's look at the game review here. Now, bishop c4. Not that great, truly, right? Moving that bishop here, the whole point of the Caro-Kann is to play d5. So already this isn't a good sign. c6, we want d5, okay? He plays right into it, and then he plays check. Not the worst move, but again, could be better. And then after bishop here, he plays bishop d3, which I really don't like. Now, it's only considered an inaccuracy, according to chess.com. I think this is a blunder, because nobody plays bishop here, and then on the next move, plays a move like c3, c4, a4. I mean, look at these top engine suggestions, right? Or look at another one, bishop e2. No one's going to play bishop here and then just move it back the very next move. It doesn't make sense. And if that's the case, it's clearly a huge blunder. So what I am saying is that in this case, bishop d3 Big time blunder. It just shows that there's a lack of understanding or awareness for the fact that you just never do that. You never block your center pawns because you need to move your center pawns to get your bishops out. So when you see bishops here and here blocking E and D pawns, that's already a sign of mistake, like just plain and simple. So that's a very easy thing to fix. You just never do it. You never do it. Okay, knight f3 was obviously a blunder, but guess what? It's only a blunder because there should not be a bishop here. Sometimes you bring your knight out and you get pushed around by pawns. That happens. But you definitely can't leave a bishop on that square. That's the issue, not the knight. Okay, e4, bishop moves, takes. That's fine. Knight f6, queen e2. Now, I, again, do not like queen e2. Better would be castles. Better would be d4. Better would be even knight c3. Get a piece out. Put your king to safety. Do not develop your queen. Do not move your bishop 5 times in the opening. These are easy fixes. Never move your bishop that many times, or any piece for that matter. Right? Never have your pieces block your center pawns before they've moved at all. Don't develop your queen as, like, you know, the second or third piece of the game. And get your king to safety. These are like very, very basic, like maybe even before habits. My opponent plays d3, decent move. Rook e8. When you see a rook barreling down on your king, it should be an automatic move castle. I'm not sure my opponent knew about the move castling, or maybe they would have done it, because this would be the moment where you absolutely need to castle. d4 played, and now bishop b4 hurts. That's a forced move. Bishop b5. Yeah, I think you pretty much need to go king g1 here. He decides to block, but it doesn't do much. And now you've lost your queen. You only have one piece developed. Knight d2 was actually, there we go. Finally, a good move for my opponent. Getting a piece developed. g4 I even liked, to get the king up. But a4, I'm not a fan of. I know it seems silly. Why am I talking about like whether my opponent's moves are good or bad here? But whether or not he's down a queen, you can still show that you have those good instincts. Like, if my opponent's playing king g2, it shows me he knows he needs to get his rook out. Right? If he plays the knight, it shows me he knows he needs to get the bishop out. a4 is just wrong kind of energy. Bishop goes back, knight takes another pawn, and then, of course, the king gets mated because you never castled, lost your queen early, and you didn't get any pieces out. There are only 2 pieces out in the final position. And what have I done? I haven't moved my queen once. So I'm saying, as advice, don't bring your queen out too early. And look at me, following my own advice. I haven't even touched my queen. I'm making all these threats and I'm winning all this material with just my minor pieces and my rook that I won the queen with. You can do a lot with your minor pieces and your rooks, especially early on. The queen comes out early and just gets harassed by these other lower value pieces. So, just really comes down to that. Very easy fixes, though, for my opponent and for anyone with similar problems. But, like, it starts with the opening, not great. Moving the bishop 5 times, putting the bishop on a... Literally never put your bishop there in front of the pawn. And then, obviously, not castling. That was the killer. Not castling is just going to lose you so many games. Your king is very weak in the center of the board.